Avery, whose show is this? And we're live. Welcome, everybody, here to the Lakers Lowdown podcast. I'm Anthony Irwin, riding solo here for this one. Actually, you know what? On that front, now that my voice is doing a little bit better, I don't think I'll do it tonight. I won't reintroduce him tonight. Give my voice one more night, one more day to kind of fully recover. But I don't know if you guys remember when we were doing these shows here at Silver Screen and Roll, we would have the conversational, hour length episodes over the course of the day. And then we would also have the lowdown in its original form. What happened was we went to Blue Wire, and Blue Wire wanted all of our shows to be at least 20 minutes long so that you could have two mid rolls in there. Odyssey just doesn't care. Like, they just, whatever the content wants to look like, or whatever I want the content to look like, they are willing to roll with that and trust me with that content. And so we're going to be going back to like that short 7 to maybe 10-minute long, what you need to know type of episode to start your day. And then we'll have the conversational episodes that are still going to be broken into the multiple parts because based on the numbers, you guys seem to enjoy that too. So that'll be starting, like, I'm not going to record one tonight, but I will record one tomorrow for Wednesday. And I'll further explain the concept when we do that. But for now, this is a lowdown. I'm riding solo on this one. From here on out, or from tomorrow on out, we'll be doing the even solo episodes are going to be lounge episodes because they are going to be more laid back. There are going to be those comments. I will have that glass of wine next to me when I do it. I don't have one next to me right now. Shocking, seeing as how that game went. And anyway, yeah, enough navel gazing. Let's go ahead and get into the show. The Lakers got their asses kicked by the Minnesota Timberwolves. Just an abysmal effort, frankly, on the second night of a back-to-back. After they didn't look all that great against the Utah Jazz, they come in here they go to Minnesota, and this Wolves team that has been up and down and more down than up so far this season. They made them look like last year's Wolves defensively. LeBron was a big part of that. So we'll talk about that effort. I want to talk about the actual effort that we see consistently from Anthony Davis and from LeBron James and getting back in transition and the tough spots that puts the Lakers in. I want to talk about LeBron. JJ Redick had an interesting quote after last night's game or after tonight's game. And, he was asked about LeBron playing all 82. He was very honest about that. So I'll have some thoughts on that as well. And then, seeing as we've had games back to back here, on the back half of the show, I'll go ahead and answer a couple of questions from you guys here in the live audience. I'll save some of the mailbag stuff, the iTunes mailbag, the Discord mailbag, the Twitter mailbag. I'll probably save that for Thursday. Thursday, when because Harrison will be with us tomorrow, and then the Lakers play on Wednesday, and then Thursday is a free day. So I'll do the mailbag it's in its entirety on Thursday, but I'll answer a couple questions here at the tail end as we tend to do, especially with those super comments as they come in as well. But yeah, let's go ahead and get on into the show. And we'll start with a quick recap of just an out-and-out butt kicking at the hands of the Minnesota Timberwolves. 109-80 is the final. This is the fewest points that the Lakers have scored in the LeBron James era. Again, LeBron, a big part, probably the biggest part of the low offensive output. LeBron played 31 minutes, went 4 of 16 from the field, 0 of 4 from 3-point range, hasn't made a 3-pointer now in 4 games in a row. Went 2 of 4 from the free throw line, barely got to 10 points. And it was pretty clear that he was in there to keep the streak alive. Once they crossed the 10-point mark, the starters came out and JJ Redick raised the white flag. LeBron was a minus 28 in this game. The Lakers lost by 29. You know, sometimes it's nice and easy. Sometimes the math maths. And in this one it did. That doesn't mean though that like there weren't other bad performances. Anthony Davis only 12 points and 11 rebounds on 4 of 14 from the field, 0 of 2 from 3-point range, only 4 free throws from AD. I don't know if he's tired or if his foot is hurting or whatever, but he is doing like nothing but floaters, and he's not getting to the free throw line. And I think it's really kind of hurting the offense there. He needs to look more like, I don't know what they need to do to make him look more explosive, but they need to do something. D'Angelo Russell actually played well in this one. 20 points for him on 8 of 2 from the field, 4 of 5 from 3-point range. Did have 5 assists as well. Also, LeBron had 6 turnovers. LeBron missed 12 shots and had 6 turnovers. So that is 18 empty possessions that LeBron spearheaded there. And a lot of it was like completely out of rhythm stuff where basically nobody touches the ball. LeBron just bounces and bounces and bounces and bounces it. And nobody gets anything going. And, he's trying to shoot his way out of the slump that he finds himself in. And it's just, he's killing the Lakers. Like I'm there's no other way to put it. He's not defending, and he has been a disaster offensively. It's been a really bad stretch here for LeBron, so bad that JJ Redick again had some interesting quotes, or an interesting quote about LeBron playing in all 82. I was wondering when we would arrive here because JJ, as I said back when they hired him, has a little asshole to him, and isn't going to like he's not going to play the politic game in the way that some of the prior coaches have, especially with how the organization seems to trust him. He has the leeway here organizationally to call out LeBron, and we'll see what that kind of looks like as those quotes continue to come in. Dalton Connect continued his slump. 6 points for him, 0 of 5 from 3-point range for Dalton. It's a good thing LeBron has been playing as poorly as he has. Otherwise, Dalton would be looking a little funny in the light as well. Let's see. Other than that, Rui, kind of a nothing burger, 10 points, 4 or 5 from the field, 4 boards. Yeah, also not like, look, when you only score 80 points, you get your butts kicked by, in the way that the Wolves kicked the Lakers' butts today. You're not going to find too many bright spots. The only one, honestly, from this one is D'Angelo Russell, who frankly kept the Lakers in it for a long time. And then, LeBron started firing away, and the Wolves kept on making threes and, kept on scoring on running opportunities. And this one was over quickly. So let's talk about those running opportunities. I had meant to pull up some transition stats. Maybe I'll do that. I was hoping that we would get a couple clips of JJ saying some of these things. Doesn't look like we are going to. But yeah, I was hoping to get some numbers here on the Lakers transition defense and how they rank in the league. And it's ugly is what I'll say. But yeah, we'll go ahead and talk about some of those running numbers, or the other teams scoring opportunities that they're getting when they run on the Lakers. And frankly, the role in that problem that Anthony Davis and LeBron James are playing. So I want to go, where's this? All right, there's stats. I usually have this as one of my player stats. I want team stats. Uh, team stats, all teams. Shots. Oh, no, what are you doing? I hate pop-ups. Sorry, everybody. Um, Opposing lineups, all teams, traditional stats. Why is defense dashboard? All right. So, on the season, play type. There we go. The Lakers, their transition numbers on defense are just absolutely brutal. So, um, possessions, like number of transition possessions that I don't know if this is that the Lakers. No, this is, goodness, defense. Why isn't this popping up? All right, it's not going to pull it up. I'll have those numbers for you guys for a lowdown. But the problem that the Lakers are having in transition is like essentially if Anthony Davis finishes a play lower than the top of the the restricted section, or if he finishes a possession in the paint, basically, he takes that as an opportunity to just kind of loaf back. And look, there's a lot of debate in my mentions right now because I called this out during the game. But the Lakers defense is one thing when he is a part of it and another thing entirely when he isn't. And when Anthony Davis is out there on the court, and not only are you 4-on-5, but the one that you're missing is your best defender far and away. Then guess what that's going to look like for the other team. And this has been a problem with him, for years now, where the first player to really figure it out was Jokic in I think it was the Western Conference Finals a couple of years ago, where he just kind of realized, I can beat Anthony Davis down the court whenever I want. And slowly but surely, the rest of the league has kind of figured that out. And now we've reached the point where a big part of every team's game plan against the Lakers is to get out and run because Anthony Davis is their entire defense, and he just doesn't run back on defense very hard. So that being a habit is one thing. And then LeBron James is another player who, look, he's 40, and there's all of those talking points that need to be brought up. Here's the thing. If every time LeBron dunks the ball, we're going to marvel at the fact that he's doing this at 40, and we're going to pat him on the back every single time he does anything successfully for being 40. Well, the flip side of that is that, like, this is what a 40-year-old looks like on defense. And if he's not getting back in transition, like the only time LeBron really gets back in transition is if he feels like he has an opportunity for one of those, chase down blocks. And again, like, yes, it's 40, or he's 40. And it sucks that, like, we are now in however many years, year 7, excuse me, of the Lakers, refusing to pick up the energy when LeBron doesn't quite have it. But that is the reality here, right? Like, you have to confront reality for what it is, and you can't keep hoping that you live in some alternate reality where LeBron isn't 40 years old and he could keep the energy up night in, night out. But he is 40 and he can't keep that energy up night in, night out. And at some point, the Lakers have to have a little bit of pride and be like, all right, we'll pick up LeBron in this one. But instead, and like part of the problem, like on a night like tonight, where and I think we saw this in some of the Utah game too. Like, I saw some praise for the hero ball that we saw at the end of the game against Utah. Like, Utah got back into it in large part because of that hero ball. LeBron has been bad recently, and rather than kind of pick up LeBron and try to pick up the energy level around him, everybody's just kind of looking awkward at, like, can we point out the fact that this guy kind of sucks right now? Like LeBron, you've missed 25 straight 3-pointers. I don't think it's 20. It might be 25. You've missed like 17 straight 3-pointers. Maybe don't pull, like, no, don't take a contested one off of the dribble. Like, try to get into a rhythm. Unfortunately, like, even when he had an in rhythm catch and shoot three, he airballed that one. Something is off with his shot. I don't know what the hell happened. But yeah, like the Lakers, need to collectively pick up the energy around him, and they just aren't. And it's just killing the team. So when you have plays, like there was a play today where LeBron drove baseline, he went to make a pass to Anthony Davis, and it wound up being a turnover that occurred again on the baseline. So the Wolves had to take the ball 94 full feet across the entirety of the court, all the way to the other basket. And you watch LeBron and AD at the beginning of that transition opportunity, and they're just kind of like looking at each other like, oh, man, shucks. Was that my bad? Was that your bad? I don't know. Oh, man, they scored. I think it was an M1 too. And it's like, guys. And then, like, that doesn't even count the number of times where anytime they don't get a call, they sit there and they whine about not getting the call to the referee, while, again, the play is continuing on the other end. I had a tweet that people didn't seem to like, but I stand by it, where, like, every time either one of them gets, like, glanced on the face, they sit there and go, oh, God, oh, yeah, it's fine, yeah, oh, you see? And the whole time that they're going through that entire rigmarole, the other team is scoring on the other end of the court. And it's like, dude, unless you lose a freaking eye, I don't need to see you acting as if like you got knocked the hell out when some point guard like grazed your face while you were driving to the basket. Like you don't have to act like you get shot every single time you get hit in the face. Because what winds up happening is if you don't get the call, you're lying there on the ground. And then, like, so you lie there on the ground, and in the time that you're lying there on the ground, the other team is already reached half court. And then while they're putting the ball in the basket, you're turning around and talking to the referee. And it's like, dude, play. Go play defense. Try that, and those transition, like the Lakers are, they're not good in the half court defensively, but they aren't the disaster that they are in transition. And they're a complete disaster in transition because of the guys specifically who typically don't participate in those transition defense opportunities. And that, when a team looks at its superstars and the superstars behave a certain way and never get called out for it, the team just kind of like slumps their shoulders. And it's like, okay, so it's accountability for me every time I fuck up. But every single time that LeBron or AD screw up, it's like, well, who else can we yell at instead of them, rather than point out the fuck up that LeBron and AD had? And it's like, that is a terrible spot to be in. And I'm really kind of curious how this is going to go here with JJ Redick tonight, where he appears to be calling out LeBron for this attempt at playing in all 82 games and the impact that it's made on the kind of basketball that LeBron plays night in, night out. But look, leadership is best done by example. And if the example that your superstars are setting is that it's okay to just kind of waffle back on defense, then guess what everybody is going to do on in transition on defense. And then more importantly, far more importantly, let's disregard the example aspect of this. Let's just throw that part of it out of it. The fact that you have teams game planning for the fact that these two dudes are just not going to play in a big chunk of the transition defense opportunities, that's a problem. Like, all right, you don't want me to, hold them to account for the lack of leadership in that regard. All right, fine. Weird, but fine. But from strictly a basketball standpoint, if the entirety of the league is looking at the Lakers, it's like, oh, we can see opportunity after opportunity after opportunity because their best defensive player doesn't get back on defense. That hurts your defense. And the Lakers don't have the margins. They don't have enough on the margins to make up for it. Oh, great. I'm meant to mute it and I didn't. Fantastic. All right. So let's talk about the slump that LeBron finds him in. And for this one, I will pull up a couple of the quotes here from LeBron, well, from JJ Redick. First off, this is from Jovan, who said that JJ Redick said he told his team in the media that their second half performance against the Denver Nuggets was an aberration. It's looking more, quote, it's looking more and more like it's not an aberration, Redick said of LA's recent offensive woes. And it's not just like his focus tends to be, and he's a very process oriented coach. And I appreciate that to a certain extent. But like last year, the problem was Darvin only focused on grit and determination and give a bleep and all of that stuff. And, that got old over the course of the year. Now, JJ is kind of on the opposite end of the spectrum where he is more focused on execution and, the process. And yeah, it's okay if we aren't making shots if the process is there. And we don't really hear too much about, like, he did say the level of compete on a couple of occasions, but for the most, like, he's also like said that the level of compete was fine in a couple of games that it clearly wasn't. And in this case, like, the offensive woes is what he's focused on here. And he's calling for more body and ball movement on offense. It's like, no, man, like, you need body and ball, like, you need body movement everywhere. It's a slow ass team that looks even slower because they just kind of walk around from station to station, whether that's on defense or on offense. And you know, I understand why he's focused on the execution or on the process and stuff like that. And the stuff that they're calling, um, maybe isn't working to the extent that they would like it to, but they feel, content with the stuff that they're calling. That's all fine. But at some point, you do kind of need to, grab a dude by the face mask and shake him up a little bit and say, like, hey guys, we need to start giving a bleep. And we haven't quite seen him go there often enough yet. But the big quote that we had here after the game, and let's see. Here we go. All right. So Lakers Daily caught this quote. JJ Redick on LeBron playing all 82 games. Quote, I don't know if it's in the best interest of him and us if he does that, end quote. And I said it when I heard it. Like, I'm the same guy who I hate load management. I think load management for the most part is fraudulent. And injuries have gone up in this era of load management. Which means that, like, clearly that isn't working to the extent that, like, teams and players specifically would prefer that, we think they would. That said, for a guy who turns 40 this month to go out there and try to play in all 82 games over the course of a season, when he wasn't even doing that in his athletic prime, it just feels like he's putting himself ahead of the team there, where it's like, no, I don't care how old I am. I'm going to play night in, night out. And it's like, yeah, but if you do what you did tonight and you're counting that as a game played, then, like, it isn't. It shouldn't count, because tonight he didn't really play any defense. Kind of walked station to station on defense, gave up a ton of open looks to Naz Reid whenever he was guarding him. And then on the other end, obviously was again abysmal on offense, not moving the ball, really more focused on getting his shot going than anything else to do with the offense. But you know, if this is what it's going to look like in one out of every 3 or 4 games while LeBron tries to play all 82, I'd rather he just sit out one out of every 5 or 6 games. I know that he is the king of on court load management, and I think for the vast majority of his career he was excellent at doing that. But now, like, you watch him out there, and when he's going to get to that extra gear to get to the basket or even just get the ball to the rim from 3-point range, he just doesn't have it. And um, this run that he's been in, easily the worst stretch of his time as a Laker, probably the worst stretch of his time in the NBA. And they play in Miami, so he's not going to sit out that one. But I would kind of hope that he takes the last game of the road trip off. I've got to look at who they play. They play Atlanta, so it'll be Friday they play. So Wednesday they play in Miami, and then Friday they play in Atlanta. Just take Friday off, and then because you don't play again until Sunday, so that would mean you would have Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and then Sunday you play again. And then after that Sunday game against Portland at home, you find out how many which teams you're going to be playing when the Lakers aren't in the in-season tournament anymore. And that gives you that like bit of a break, bit of a breather before we get to like Christmas, when the schedule really kind of takes off. So I just look, I'm a big fan of LeBron James, the basketball player, big fan of LeBron James, the person in many cases. But I do think, as we saw with the whole Bronny thing, that was him putting what made him look cool over what was best for the team, and best for Bronny. And then I think in this case here with wanting to play in all 82 games, that feels like what is in his best interest and not necessarily in the best interest of the play of the Lakers. Maybe it's like an unofficial farewell tour. I don't know. Like, I legitimately don't know what is going into this decision that he made at the beginning of the year. But I do hope that the Lakers, JJ, his teammates, his camp gets to him and says, like, hey man, like come on, what are we doing here? Because it's this all 82 games thing is not working. All right. We do have some starred comments, which means I get to play this bad boy. All right. First starred comment here comes from Matthew, who says, Anthony, do you think LeBron announces that he retires at the end of the season, or do you think he wants a full season retirement tour and plays one more year? I am of the opinion that we would find out that he's doing a full-on retirement tour and that he wants to, make a documentary out of his last year in the NBA, and he would want all of his flowers, which he, by the way, completely earned, if he is going to retire. But what I will say on this front, LeBron has told us that if he feels like he doesn't have it physically, or even more importantly, mentally, and like if he doesn't feel like the Lakers are competing at a high enough level, maybe, just maybe, he just kind of, now he does have another year and another 50 or so million bucks left on his contract. For somebody who is trying to eventually own a basketball team, I don't think he's going to turn down another 50 mil. And I think, going into the season, I think he was kind of looking ahead to Bryce getting into the NBA and potentially playing with Bronny and Bryce, and absolutely, crushing any chance that anybody will ever have a chance to play with both of their sons in the NBA. But it is getting to a point here where, like, you watch him play, and this can't be fun for somebody who reached the heights that LeBron reached at his pinnacle, athletically, and in terms of impact on winning. The Lakers are like way worse with him on the court than when he is off so far this year. It's been ugly. There's a couple bright spots, and he has been able to turn it on a couple occasions, but for the most part, this is well below LeBron's standard of a season. And if he feels like it would look like this again next year, it would shock me. Like, don't get me wrong, it would really surprise me. It really shocked me, but it does kind of feel like if he looks ahead and thinks that next year is going to be a lot of the same stuff, it's kind of tough to see him signing up for it all over again. Justin Tyndall writes, Braun looks tired after 20 games, and we expect him to play another 70 and 80 games if we go all in. Don't know what the answer is. Being was 10-4 was fake. We're not good. I mean, that's probably how the front office would prefer we look at this season. It lets them off of the hook from trying to improve even on the margins. So I don't know. I am still of the opinion, even if you say, all right, we're not gonna use first round pick draft capital in deadline deals with LeBron potentially looking like this from here on out. But you do still have Anthony Davis playing at a really effing high level. And I do think, like, it's not like you're gonna be able to tank after LeBron retires with Anthony Davis on the team. So, like, you still do need to improve on the margins. So, I'm not okay in any way with the Lakers basically saying, like, "Oh, shucks, don't have it this year. I guess we'll just see how it goes in the summer," because we saw how it went this last summer where they said that at last deadline, and they were like, "Well, we'll see how it goes in the summer." And then in the summer weren't able to do anything either. So, I am of the opinion that you do still need to compete, and that's from the player standpoint, that's from the coach's standpoint, and that's from the front office's standpoint as well. I get boards for days. So at not Rui Hachimura writes, could JJ's comments about the roster and team make Rob have a sense of urgency? And what have you heard about DFS's asking price? Keep up the work. Not even good work, huh? Wow. So I didn't catch JJ's comments about the roster. Um, I do think that eventually, if, like, JJ gets sick of coaching certain guys, we'll know it. So not at all out of the realm of possibility that JJ does wind up calling out the roster. I just haven't seen it quite yet. What I will say as far as DFS Dorian Finney-Smith's asking price, it sits at like a protected, like a probably like a top 10 protected first round pick in an expiring contract. Would, I think, get Dorian over for, and that's like right now. As you get closer to the deadline, I think that price is going to drop and drop and drop further. And maybe, just maybe, you're able to get him for like a series of second rounders and that expiring money. Or, maybe you send over JHS and get the Nets to think of JHS as a prospect and not just an expiring contract. Maybe that's how it goes. But yeah, from what I've heard, and I've been checking up on this fairly regularly, it does appear that Dorian could probably could be got for like an okay first round pick and expiring money. Whether he's worth that, I think he probably is, but uh, there's obviously a lot of internal debate with the Lakers and around the league as to whether they want to give up a first round pick for Dorian Finney-Smith, who um, is a good role player, but he's not like a franchise altering role player either. So we'll see. I think eventually that price probably gets all the way down as you get closer to the deadline, as you get out of December and into the new year. I do think we'll start hearing that, like, well, okay, but it better be a good second round pick, better be multiple second round picks, and we aren't taking any money beyond this upcoming season. Even though I think it's in Brooklyn's best interest to be like, well, we'll take money going into next season, but you have to improve your draft capital. Like, that's what rebuilding teams should be doing, even in this new CBA. So we'll see how all that plays out. All right, I think that will do it. Yeah, we are good here. I see Snotty up there in the comments. Actually, I think I missed this comment earlier. Justin Tyndall writes, I will just laugh if Pelinka trades for Jonas Valanciunas. Not like we're already slow and unathletic. If the price is the same, get Nick Richards. He's averaging 11 and 9 with 2.5 blocks. Definitely more athletic. Definitely higher upside. I just don't think it was a coincidence that it was LeBron was willing to take a pay cut for James Harden or Klay Thompson or Jonas Valanciunas. Like the breadcrumbs are pretty easy to piece together there. That's the kind of big that Anthony Davis and LeBron would prefer to bring in to have somebody who's big and bulking and knocks people over and is at least capable of not being moved as easily off of the spot by Nikola Jokic and those kinds of centers. So yeah, I get the point. I frankly agree with the point. The Lakers need to find ways at the deadline to improve their foot speed and general athleticism. But I think Jonas probably goes for a second round pick and expiring money, or an extra second round pick and like Gabe Vincent's contract. Would be what my kind of prediction there if the Lakers do acquire Jonas Valanciunas, but I get the point there. I just like, you talk to people around the league and it's more of a matter of when Jonas will be a Laker more so than if Jonas Valanciunas will be a Laker. All right, that is going to do it here for this episode of the Lakers' final long edition of the Lakers Lowdown podcast. Harrison will be in with me tomorrow. That is Tuesday. And then Wednesday, the Lakers play. So Raj will be with me for that post game. Thursday will be a mailbag episode. And then obviously Friday, we don't do too much. And then one other thing to keep an eye out for, I'll be doing Andy Kamenetsky's ESPN LA show tomorrow night. I'll be pre-recording that conversation tomorrow morning, and then it'll run later in the evening when Andy's show runs. So you can keep an eye out for that on ESPN 710. So until then, and until the next time you guys hear from me, I'm Anthony Irwin saying have a great rest of your day. Make somebody else's. And I'll also subscribe, rate, review, blah, 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 blah. Here's Avery.